Good afternoon everyone, Jack again, TaylorMade Fly Fish. Come out this afternoon to talk you through the rods that I've just finished. The first ones are a 9.5 foot 6 weight. I'll explain to you the features and why I've designed it. Starting at the bottom of the rod, little fighting butt, straight into a high quality aluminium reel seat. I've had this anodised with a gloss finish because the gloss makes everything much smoother on your fittings when you tighten your reel up. Above that is a low diameter cork handle, 20mm longer than most, because sometimes I used to find myself holding the rod at the end sometimes when playing fish with the butt section in the arm. All high quality, composite on either end, so when you're catching it on things it's not busting bits of cork off. Above that, no reel seat, and then you can see the super slim blank with a unground finish. Two reasons I've done that. One reason is when we're testing blanks, the sanded blanks were between 30 and 40% weaker. They were snapping much easier once sanded, and we noticed on the round blank, once sanded, either side may not have been exact, so it'd be thinner on one side or the other and create a weak spot, and it also lost accuracy when casting the blanks. It's also toxic, the carbon dust that comes off grinding blanks back, so it's worse for the environment and it loses strength. I was trying to go for these ultralight blanks at first, but they wasn't really strong enough, and I've noticed in recent years other brands, and there's been posts going up everywhere on social media, Facebook and what have you, of a lot of them breaking, which for me is no good. I need a good, solid, reliable tool. Above that, line up dots, but on the below the joint I put a second whipping which has the line up dot on it and a coat of varnish, and that's so over time it can't be scratched or rubbed off the dot because it's protected in a coat of varnish. Straight into K-series anti-tangle stripping guides, a very high spec guide, titanium coated. Stops line tangling when you're shooting big distance, which you can with this rod. Two of those. Above that, titanium coated single leg guides, a nice heavier duty grade of wire, because things need to be strong. I don't want to scale everything back for the sake of 5 grams. I need strength and reliability, but it's a very, very, very light rod, don't get me wrong. You notice there's no branding here on the rod. That's for two reasons. Reason one is I'm not having any paint on it for the wording, because it's toxic. It's a toxic chemical, simple as that. Same with the varnish, because normally you'd have this section mostly varnished. I've cut that back as much as possible so it's less damage on the environment, which obviously we all want. Being fishermen, we like nature and we like the natural world, and we're aware of what's going on with it at the moment, so I want to do what I can to scale the effects back on my rods. Another reason for not varnishing it is on some of the samples they had branding and varnish on the blanks, but it was adding a flat section to the action. So what I was saying was 100% through action blanks, tip to butt section with lots of feel in the handle, it lost that. So I ended up sanding varnish off, recasting it, and it was back to what I wanted. Because at first I thought the factory had built some of the samples on the wrong blanks, because the entire blanks are custom made, TaylorMade. I'm not just buying blanks off the shelf and adding components. As you can see, it's super slim, 7.5mm total diameter. There's just a very fine coat of matte black paint to get rid of the varnish, like the gloss finish that it has when it comes out the oven. So it's a very high spec, high performing rod, and at a retail less than half price of any rods of this spec. Another thing is the blue sections on the reel seat are going to be grey to match the grey on my fly lines. So it's a very high performance fly rod. Some of the stiffness that I've removed from the butt section, I've added a little bit midsection. That's to keep direction. The tracking will be nice and straight. When you're overhead casting, you're casting back and you're pulling on a straight line. So you don't need to worry too much about it. But when you're spay casting, you're sweeping around to create an anchor before you make your cast. So you've got your rod tip point A, your anchor point B. When you're loading that rod and bending it, putting pressure into it, you're not pulling a straight line, so you need accuracy to keep everything straight. Because I know with certain rods I've had in the past, spay casting all day, you can get the sections twisting. And that's because as you sweep round and make the cast, you're putting twist into the blank because you're pulling a line from point A to point B. So it's not straight tracking, it's coming at an angle. But with this, very accurate. So it's a very strong rod, very high spec rod. It's a true through action rod, 100%. Any rods that have branding and a coat of varnish here are not 100%. I'll promise you that, because you're putting a flat spot into the blank, which affects what you feel here. But because it's a true action rod, I can make the back cast, and when it rolls out and puts a little bit of load on the rod ready for the forward cast, I can feel it, so I don't have to look. And same when spay casting, I can sweep round to an anchor and I don't have to look at my anchor and D-loop. I can feel it, so I can look at where I want it to go, aim it that way, and with it being a nice true casting blank, it'll go where I tell it to go. But I will get the line through it, make a few casts and show you just how effective this rod is. And another thing about my rod sales, a percentage of sales I'm going to put towards the Grayling Society and the Wild Trout Trust, because some of our rivers and fish species are, well, really struggling at the moment. So I want to kind of put, I'm quite slippy here, I'm still on ice, I want to put a bit back into fishing. Anything that can help our rivers and our fish, it's, well, I'm all for it, to be honest. Need to look after what we've got, and being in love with the natural world, as I'm sure most of you are, I want to leave less of a footprint with the equipment I'm developing and help where I can. But yeah, get this through here. Freezing cold today, -4 degrees in the UK. In Fahrenheit, I think it's about 20-ish, thereabouts. As you can believe, it's very cold. One of the rod tips has been sat in the water. It's freezing on the blank. But I'm not going to let that stop me. So yeah. I've designed the lines and rods to work together, but the lines work on, well, every rod. I've had rods, well, I've been sending rods all over the world, and I've had 5-star reviews from all the customers, and they're all using whatever rods they have, and it's obviously working. But yeah, with it being a true through action blank, I can fish short, but it's actually loading and unloading, rolling a loop out and presenting well with only 10 foot of line at the tip of the rod. And then I can slip more line into it, and as you can see, nice tight control loops, presenting well. But a chap was telling me the other day, you need a fast action rod to create tight loops. It's well, you don't. That all depends on your casting stroke. But yeah, as you can see, well, without any effort, it's shooting quite a lot of line. But it'll spay cast very efficiently. Bang, taking loads of line out. But with it being a very accurate casting rod, the tracking stays straight instead of it buckling and twisting and losing accuracy. Also, I didn't mention that where they roll the blanks, at some point where they roll it, there's an overlap, and my rods are spined, which helps your tracking again. It doesn't twist in the blanks, because a rod under load will try and twist to the easiest place where it can twist to, because either on the join or opposite the join they have slightly different actions. But yeah, with it being a true full action blank, roll cast very well and efficiently, and that's because it's loading down here. But more importantly, I can feel it. I can sweep, anchor, feel the load, and then make the cast. But then even on an overhead cast, this presentation line, colour change at the tip of the rod is the perfect spot for loading the rod. For every cast, you're carrying the same length and weight of line, making it much easier. So you've got a rod which is very smooth and efficient casting, and it has a lot of feel and soul, and a line which helps again. As you can see, it's loading, unloading, and even being a softer blank, it's staying straight, which is very important, because we've all seen casts that go out and as the line's flying out, there's shockwaves going down the line. That's because the rod's not recovering quick enough, or it's been overloaded. But overhead casting, colour change, I can feel the load there, and you can see it's as efficient as it gets basically. With a true full action blank, the casting is made easier because the rod's transferring the energy efficiently, so you're not hammering energy into it to get distance. So not only is it perfect for casting small distance and even spay casting, nice tight precise loops. This line is 100 foot long. There's the backing knot of a 100 foot line. It's not a big fast action monster for distance casting, it's a proper fishing rod. So you can fish short, medium and long range. But yeah, colour change at tip of the rod. One back cast. And where is it? There is 100 foot of fly line gone. But as you can see, the rod's transferring the energy so efficiently. I'm not having to put everything, not having to put my life and soul into it to get distance. But yeah, little roll cast, efficient, precise loops, one back cast, another 100 foot. So every time it's efficient. Not often you need to cast a long way, but when you do, it needs to get there, roll out, present. Otherwise there's no point. But yeah, I've designed the rods to be eco-friendly as I can make them, cost effective, high performing, and be able to do it all. Because you can dry fly fish with this rod. It's got enough shock absorption to not have you breaking tippets off, and it'll fish short, create nice precise loop, deliver well. But then if you want to get medium range into it, there it is, ultimate presentation. That's why I called the line the presentation line. And if you want to get distance, colour changes there, one back cast, efficient energy transfer, off it goes. That's probably 60-foot cast, but then you can spay cast. It's that easy. With rods and lines, you need a line which likes a certain tempo and a rod action which likes a certain tempo. So if you go and buy a rod from one brand that doesn't make lines and then a line from a brand that doesn't make rods, the chances of them mating together and working efficiently are slim. I've done it in the past. I've bought expensive lines to use with the expensive rods by two completely different brands, and they've been, well, awful, basically. I've ended up using a line purely because it's cost me so much money, not because I like using it. So yeah, high performing, cost effective, aesthetically pleasing, high spec. Yeah, and it will also put a little bit of money back into fly fishing, looking after the trout and grayling of our rivers here in northern England. But yeah, very cold today, but I thought I'd come out, talk about these lines, something I'm incredibly proud of. Another thing I forgot to mention is with the branding not going on here, I'm removing varnish and paint, and they are going to be laser etched on top of the reel seat. Again, more eco-friendly because you're getting rid of nasty chemicals. The latter are printed on with a cellulose paint, so as that dries, the gases that come off it that are released from the wording are, well, highly toxic. But yeah, one back cast, wait till you feel the load and send it out, and yeah, an incredible fly rod. But that's it for today. Look after yourself, folks, and maybe I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.